Ciao a tutti ragazzi, in today's class we're gonna cover the most basic part of the Italian language, starting off with the alphabet and tips on pronunciation. We will then jump into nouns and how to recognize if the gender of a noun is masculine, feminine, or singular and plural. Together with it, we are gonna try to have a look at how to use articles in Italian, and at the end of the class we're gonna do some reading for beginners in Italian, and together we're gonna cover some basic grammar structure. And now let's just jump straight into it. We're gonna go straight to the alphabet, and I'm gonna read the alphabet once for you guys. I want you to pause, repeat with me, and get really familiar on how we pronounce words in Italian. The reason why it's very important is because in Italy we read on the same way that the word is spelled. So learning and being able to read and spell a word properly in Italian, it's the essence of reading and speaking Italian. Now let's start. I will be reading the alphabet once for you, but you pause it, go back, and try to repeat with me. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I lunga or J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V or V, W or W, X, Y, Z. That's how we pronounce the alphabet in Italian. And now I want you to pay attention to some of the trickiest pronunciation things that you can encounter in Italy. The most important is probably the usage of C and G when they come before a vowel. So C and G will be pronounced differently if they come before E or I, or if they come before A or U. So specifically, let's have a look. If C and G are before E and I, the pronunciation will be a sweet sound, un suono dolce. If C and G come before A, O, or U, they will have a harsh sound, un suono duro. Let's try to have a look. For example, here we have four words. C plus I, cedro. G plus I, genio. C plus I, cibo. G plus I, gita. So ce, ge, ci, gi. Very soft sound, sweet sound. Now, let's try to say to have the same case but with the harsh sound. We have casa. It's not casa, it's casa. Collo, cucchiaio, gallo, gonna, gusto. So pay attention here, the sound is harsh. It's not ce, g, it's ca, co. Now, most of the people ask me, how do you read words that have a double C? Well, you basically read following the same C sound, but you make it a bit more stronger. In this case, C-H-I is read chia, but there is a C before, so you say chia, cucchiaio. So you make it a bit stronger because it's double C. Now, I want to show you one trick, and this is actually very useful in Italian. Let me reduce the font and change it to blue. If we want to make the sound, this is ce or ci, or we can also say ge or g. This is soft sound, suono dolce. Suono dolce. If we want to make this into a harsh sound, we have to put an H in between. For example, C, H, E will not be che, will be che. Harsh sound, harsh. Let's try another one. If we want to make chi into a harsh sound, we put an H. C, H, I is going to be chi, not chi. Chi, harsh. So be careful that in Italian, this is not going to be read che, it's going to be read che, chi. This one is che, chi. So whenever you see an H between the C and the vowel, Especially if it's a soft vowel, it will make the sound harsh. So remember that. And while we are talking about H, then another rule in Italian, very important in pronunciation, is that the H in front of the Italian words is silent. La H è muta. The H is silent. For example, we don't say hobby, we say hobby. We don't say hamburger, we say hamburger. And the same is with the verb to have. I have, she has, you have. It's not io ho, it's io ho, tu hai, lui ha, loro hanno. No H. You spell it with an H, but you don't pronounce it. Another important tip is that QU, it's pronounced Q. You don't say Q, you say Q. For example, heart, cuore, it's CU, and you say cuore. But also quadrato, square. Despite being QU, you will still say quadrato, quadrato. Also questo, this, quasi, almost. CU, questo, quasi. These are the most important tips that I want you to remember, and maybe before jumping to our very first grammar lesson, I want to show you another sound in Italian. It's not a rule, but it's just the way you pronounce it. The combination of GLI in Italian is gli. It's hard to say, try to practice and pronounce. GLI is gli. Gli. That's how you pronounce it. Now, let's erase this to have it clean and neat. And we're gonna jump straight to our very first lesson of grammar, super basic, and it is the names in Italian, I nomi in italiano. Specifically, we want to be able to understand how to recognize gender and number of a noun. Is it masculine? Is it feminine? Is it singular? Or is it plural? In English, fortunately or unfortunately, you cannot really say if a noun is masculine or feminine by having a look at the name. For example, moon. Is moon masculine? Is moon feminine? We do not really know. In English, all it matters is that we distinguish between people and object. So moon will be it, and Roberto, Tony, will be he. In Italian, it doesn't matter if it's an object, if it's a person, they will all have a gender, and it's gonna be either masculine, feminine, singular, or plural. In Italian, we do not have the gender neutral, so we do not have the it equivalent. So even an object will be masculine or feminine. Why is it important to understand the gender and the number in Italian? Well, because every single part of the sentence, the article, the verb, the adjective, they will be conjugated and they will be following the gender and the number of the noun. So we need to absolutely be able to recognize masculine, feminine from singular and plural. So what is the rule? Well, if we're talking about masculine singular, 99% of masculine singular word will be ending with O, with consonant, or with E. For example, il coltello, the knife. Il pane, the bread. L'hamburger, the burger. Masculine singular will have mostly these endings. There are a few exceptions, and we're gonna cover them in a second. Those are some exceptions of nouns that, despite ending with O, they will still be feminine. For example, la mano, the hand. L'auto, the car. La metro, the metro. La foto, the picture. La radio, the radio. La moto, the motorbike. L'auto, the car. La moto, the motorbike. So usually when you see a noun ending with an O, it's masculine, but those are exceptions. They are actually feminine. How do you recognize the feminine? Well, most of the feminine words will be ending with a, ta, zione, or e. For example, la forchetta, the fork. La metà, the half. La metà. La colazione, the breakfast. La carne, the meat. All of these are feminine singular. However, also in this case we have some exception. Those are some words that, despite ending with a, they will be masculine. For example, il pigiama, the pyjama. Il clima, the climate. Il pianeta, the planet. Il problema, the problem. Il poeta, the poet. Il sistema, the system. They end with an a, They should be feminine, but they are masculine. Some exception. Now, we have just understood how to recognize singular masculine, singular feminine. And what about the plural? Well, we have it in here. If you want to make the plural in Italian, that's how you do it. If a noun is masculine and it has the ending o, a, or e, we are very lucky because at the masculine plural, every noun will be ending with e or I. Doesn't matter if it's ending with o, with a, or with e, masculine plural is always gonna be I. So, il pesce, the fish, I pesci. Whenever you see a noun that it's ending in e, 99% you can assume that it's masculine plural. Again, we have some exception we're gonna see in a second, but this is the general rule. The feminine plural, it's a bit more complex, but also not that much, because 99% of feminine plural word will be ending with e, because most of the feminine word will have an a at the end. The plural form will mostly have an e. The only exception is the feminine words that end with a. With e, sorry. They will also be ending in I, like the masculine. One example is grande. Grande, for example, is a word that means big, grande. Despite ending in e, it could be masculine or feminine, and depending on the article, la grande mela, the big apple, il grande uccello, the big bird. So the plural of grande is going to be grandi, and you do not really know if it's masculine or feminine until you really see the article. Here we have an example. La fetta, the slice. Le fette, the slices. Again, most of the feminine word will be ending in e. We also have some exception. For example, whenever a word is ending with a and the accent, the plural form will be the same. La città, le città. The only distinction is going to be in the article. La for singular, le for plural. Il bar, I bar. This is why is it happening this way, especially with bar. It's because it's not really an Italian word. It's imported from English. Città is an Italian word, but is ending with a and accent, so it's a special case. Let's have a look. I left you some examples, and by the way, you have this, you can do it on your own time. I encourage you to do so. And if you have questions, doubts, feel free to reach out to me on Instagram or on TikTok and ask me all your doubts and show me how you did the homework so I can correct you. But let's try to have a look at a few. We start with pesce. Pesce, the ending is in E. With an ending in E, we can assume several cases. It could either be feminine plural, it could be feminine singular, but it could also be masculine singular. Unfortunately, we are starting with a very difficult word, and the only way to recognize if pesce is masculine, singular, feminine, or plural, it's to remember. And in this case, we are lucky because we have the example in here. Il pesce is actually masculine, so we will have to say masculine, singular, and the article is going to be il pesce. Let's have a look at another one. We have occhiali, which means glasses. Now, we said earlier that 99% of words ending in E, I, are almost entirely masculine plural. And because many of the masculine words, the singular will become E, will have an E at the end. And in this case, glasses, occhiali as an E at the end, that's correct. We are talking about masculine plural. So, occhiali is masculine plural. Articolo, as an O at the end, most likely it's masculine singular because most of the masculine singular words will have an O at the end. And in this case, yes, l'articolo, it's actually masculine singular. The last one we're going to have a look at it is pioggia. Pioggia, having an A at the end, rain, it's most likely feminine singular. And that's actually correct. Pioggia is feminine singular, having an A at the end. I leave the rest to you so you can practice. The very next thing we're gonna do is the articles in Italian. So now you know how to distinguish if a noun is masculine, feminine, singular, or plural. The next thing you want to be able to do is using the right article. In English, we are lucky because we only have one article, which would be the. In Italian, we are a bit unlucky because we have all these many articles that they all translate with de. In parallel, when we're talking about articoli indeterminativi, the equivalent in English would be a or an, and in Italian it would be un, uno, una, un. So this is all translating with de, this one all translate with a or an. Now, how do you recognize what to use and when to use it? There is a rule, it's pretty simple, but you just have to get familiar and learn it. Now, first of all, let's have a look. The masculine singular article are il, lo, e l'apostrophe. The masculine plural will be I, gli. So pay attention, I is the plural of il, gli is the plural of lo, gli is also the plural of e l'apostrophe. The feminine singular will be la or e l'apostrophe. The feminine plural will be le or le. Le is the plural of both la and e l'apostrophe. We're gonna forget for this for a moment. We're gonna mention it in a second. The very first thing we wanna be able to do is to understand if we are talking about masculine or feminine. Let's say that we have identified the noun and we know it's masculine singular. So masculine singular, we are with this choice. Are we using il, are we using lo, or are we using e l'apostrophe? Let's start with the simplest one. E l'apostrophe is used davanti ai nomi che iniziano con vocale, which means in front of the noun that starts with vowel. So if you have a masculine noun starting with vowel, you will say el apostrophe. In the example before here, we have gli occhiali, singular would be occhiale, starting with o, e l'apostrophe l'occhiale, masculine singular, l'occhiale. We're gonna use this article. We will be using lo, the article lo, davanti ai nomi che iniziano with the following combination of letters. So lo will be used only in front of the noun that starts with this combination of letter. Z, S plus consonant, X, Y, PS, GN, PN. For example, lo zio, the uncle, lo scoiattolo, squirrel, S plus consonant, lo yogurt, the yogurt, lo psicologo, the psychologist. If you see this combination of letter and you know that the noun is masculine, the article will have to be lo. In the same way, if you see this combination of letter and you know that the noun is plural, you will use gli. So gli will be used at the plural form of lo, but also at the plural form of e l'apostrophe. So masculine plural starting with vowel, gli. Masculine plural starting with any of this, gli. In all the other cases, we will be using il. Specifically, il will be used davanti ai nomi che iniziano con consonante. So every masculine noun starting with a consonant, except this combination of letter, will be il. An example is il cane, the dog. The plural form, I, it's going to be following the same rule. So il cane, I cani. Masculine words starting with consonant, plural. For the feminine, we are much luckier because we have only la or e l'apostrophe. As you can imagine, e l'apostrophe will be used davanti ai nomi femminili che iniziano con vocale. So if you have a feminine noun starting with vowel, you will say e l'apostrophe. If you have a feminine noun starting with consonant, you will use la. La ragazza, the girl, or e l'apostrophe l'arancia, the orange, e l'apostrophe arancia because orange is feminine starting with vowel. The plural form in the feminine is always le, so it doesn't matter if it's starting with consonant or with vowel, it's always gonna be le. The equivalent and the same rule applies also for the articoli indeterminativi, so a, an. You will be using un following the same rule for il. Uno will be following the same rule of lo. Un without accent, pay attention, un without apostrophe, un without apostrophe, for the same rule as el apostrophe. Be very careful that un without apostrophe is masculine singular starting with vowel, because feminine singular starting with vowel is un apostrophe. So be very careful. You put the apostrophe only when it's feminine singular. And the translation would be an orange, for example. An orange, un apostrophe arancia. Also note that gli articoli indeterminativi, they do not have plural. They only exist at the singular. Because the plural form of this, it's called articoli partitivi, that we will see in another grammar class a bit more advanced. Now let's do just a couple of exercises. We put the article in front of this. First thing we want to be able to do is identify gender and number. Luckily, we already know that pesce from here is masculine singular. So I will check an article that is masculine singular. It could either be il, lo, or l'apostrophe. Now, let's have a look. Pesce is starting with P. P plus vowel, P-E. P plus vowel is not in this category. P is a consonant, so we are in the category of il. Noun starting with consonant, except this combination of letter. So the article for pesce is gonna be il pesce. Masculine singular, not starting with any of this, neither with vowel. Let's have a look at the next. Occhiali. We already know that it's masculine plural. Masculine plural, but starting with vowel. Masculine plural starting with vowel, it's gonna be gli. So the article here is gli. Articolo, we identified from before that it's masculine singular. So once again, we are here, masculine singular, il, lo, or l'apostrophe. We are lucky in this time because articolo is starting with vowel. So we know that when a masculine singular starts with vowel, we need to use l'apostrophe. And in this case, it's going to be l'articolo, l'apostrophe, articolo. The last name we know is pioggia. Pioggia, feminine singular. We are very lucky because feminine singular, it's either la for consonant or l'apostrophe for vowel. Pioggia is a starting with a consonant, so it's going to be la pioggia. And I leave the remaining to you. Just try to practice and get familiar with the rule. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna start with some Italian reading. I'm gonna be reading to you some Italian text. Slowly, I'm gonna translate it. And in the meantime, hopefully you can capture some vocabulary that will help you in improving your conversation skill. Let's start. Small dialogue. Here we're talking about types of jobs. Type of jobs. Che lavoro fai? What job do you do? What is your job? Faccio il muratore. Muratore is the person working building the houses, house builder. Or, il muratore can also be someone working, building something with the bare hands. Faccio il muratore. E tuo fratello, che lavoro fa? And your brother, which job does he do? Lui fa il cuoco. He does the cook. He is a chef. He cooks. Dialogue number 2. Dove lavorano Fatima e Nureddin? Where do Fatima e Nureddin work? Fatima lavora in un bar. Fatima works in a bar. Fa la cameriera. She is a waitress. Nureddin non lavora. Nureddin does not work. E tu, cosa fai? And you, what do you do? Io faccio l'operaio e ho il turno di notte. I am a factory worker and I work at night. Ho il turno and my shift, il turno, is at night. Now here I have some vocabulary for you. Il contadino is the farmer. La commessa is the retail worker. Then we have l'elettricista, electrician. Camionista, truck driver. Barbiere, hairdresser. Barista, it's barista. Sarta, person working with clothes. I don't know the English translation, but you can see from the picture. Parrucchiera is the hairdresser. The main difference between barbiere and parrucchiera is that barbiere used to do also beard, and parrucchiere is mainly focused on hair. But today, both barbiere and parrucchiere mean hairdresser. what we have here is a very high-level glimpse of the verb fare, to do, at the present. The verb fare is irregular, but the present conjugation will be the following. Io faccio, tu fai, lui lei fa, noi facciamo, voi fate, loro fanno. We are going to cover the present tense of Italian verbs, regular mostly, in the next class. So do not worry too much, but just so you know, those are the subjects in Italian: I, you, he, she, we, you, they. And this is how you conjugate to do, fare, to do in Italian. Here there is a small exercise. We need to put the verbs inside of it and try to make sense out of the sentence. I leave this to you as a practice exercise. We are gonna do together again some vocabulary about works. So here we have again io faccio, I do. It literally would be I do, but in English you would say I am, and then you mention one of the jobs. Here we have benzinaio, if you work at a gas station; autista, if you drive; facchino, if you deliver or if you carry stuff like at a hotel; ferroviere, in a train station; insegnante, teacher; medico, doctor; infermiera, nurse; giudice, judge; impiegata, employed; informatico, IT technician. Now let's read also this dialogue. There are some vocabulary about clothing and possibly also location. Sei un'impiegata? Sei un'impiegata? Are you employed, like employed in a company? No, faccio la commessa in un negozio di abbigliamento. No, I work as a waiter, as a retail worker, in a shop, in a store of clothing. Dove lavori? Where do you work? Lavoro in centro, in via Mazzini, data Armani. I work in the center, in via Mazzini, in this store. Anche mia sorella lavora lì. Also my sister works there, lì, there. Davvero? Really? Come si chiama? What is her name? Lucia. Lucia Giacometti. La conosci? Do you know her? Pay attention that in Italian, when the verb is at the present tense, the pronoun goes before the verb. So in English you would say, do you know her? In Italian you say, la conosci. This her, la, in Italian goes before the verb when it's present tense. So don't get confused, la conosci. This will be more explained later on when I'm talking about pronoun, but only in the advanced class. Sì, certo, yes, of course, è molto simpatica. She is very nice, sympathetic. I left you here again some vocabulary. You need to link the jobs, like doctor, with where they work. So here you have again some names. Campo is field, cantiere is a construction site, train, negozio di parrucchiere is hairdresser, and negozio abbigliamento is store of clothing, ospedale is hospital. Another dialogue that I want to be covering to you now, it's going to be talking about how you form negative sentences in Italian. So it would be the equivalent of English, I don't do that, I am not, or I will never do that. So this don't, never, how do you form it in Italian? Now, the things you see in here, these words, these adverbs and connectors you see in here, they will be covered again later on in an advanced class. Now, don't worry too much about it. I just want you to know how they look, the fact that they exist, and how to use them in a sentence. Now, let's have a look at it first. We want to say the negative sentence in Italian. The first sentence is going to be io non sono neppure in ritardo. I am not even delayed, late. I am not even late. Let's try the second. Tu non arrivi mai puntuale. You do not arrive ever on time. Numero 3. Lui, lei non mangia neanche la carne. He, she does not eat, not even meat. Now, look at the construction. We always have the negation non in front of the verb. So by putting non in front of the verb, you are negating the sentence. I am not. I arrive, I don't arrive. Io non sono, io non arrivo. These adverbs here give more emphasis to the sentence. Here we have neppure, not even, mai, ever or never, neanche, not even, synonym of neppure. Nemmeno is also not even. They are all synonym, but they have different form. They are all listed here, so you can see that despite being different words, they all mean the same. Neanche, one more time, not even, mai, ever, or never. So let's try to read these small dialogues and you will recognize a lot of negative sentences. Oggi non faccio niente, sono in ferie. Today I do not do anything. Niente means both anything or nothing, depends on if the sentence is negative or positive. But anyway, in Italian it's always the same. In English you will have nothing or anything. In Italian it's always niente. Oggi non faccio niente. Sono in ferie. I am on holiday. Ma non fai nemmeno la spesa, but you don't even do grocery. La spesa, grocery. Perché non la fai tu? Why don't you do it? Io lavoro, I work. Non ho tempo, I do not have time. Non fai mai niente quando sei a casa. You never do anything. Like mai, you never do anything when you are at home. Mai niente. You don't ever anything when you're home. Non è vero, it's not true. Io lavoro molto, a casa è un ufficio. I work a lot at home and in the office. Typical dialogue between a couple in a relationship that they always argue about stupid stuff. But anyway, number 8, dialogo 8, let's see. John non arriva mai puntuale al lavoro. John doesn't arrive ever on time at work. He never arrives on time at work. Sì, ma viene da lontano. Yes, but he comes from far away. Viene con il treno. He comes with the train. Non è vero, it's not true. Ha l'automobile. He has a car. Allora, non dice la verità. Allora, very much used in Italian, in this case means then, allora, then, is not telling the truth. Io, invece, non sono mai in ritardo. Me, on the contrary, I am never late. Nemmeno io. Also me. Not even me. I am also never late. You have some exercises down here. Try to do them with calm when you can. And transform the sentence from positive to negative by following this rule. If you want to do one step advanced, try to add some of these adverbs. The last reading that I have for you today, it's related to very, very important verbs in Italian, and those are volere, want, potere, can, and dovere, have to, must. These verbs are essential in Italian, like in English, because they help you form many sentences and express many type of vocabulary. So all of the three are irregular. So luckily, you have them here and you can study, you have a look at it, you know how to write them and how to say them. And let's try to pronounce a few of them and show you how they sound. Io voglio, I want. Tu vuoi, lui, lei vuole. Noi vogliamo, voi volete, loro vogliono. It's like I want, you want, he, she wants, we want, you want, they want. Potere, can. Io posso, tu puoi, lui, lei può. Noi possiamo, voi potete, loro possono. I can, you can, he, she can, we can, you can, they can. Dovere, have to, must. Io devo, tu devi, lui, lei deve. Noi dobbiamo, voi dovete, loro devono. The only thing you can do about this, guys, is sit on it and try to remember. And be careful, because they are very important in Italian. Now, let's have a look at the dialogue and we try to identify these verbs called verbi servili in Italian. Servili because they serve a purpose, they help another verb. Let's start. Vieni con me all'ufficio di collocamento. Do you come with me at the office that finds job? Ufficio di collocamento is the office that finds job. No, non posso. No, I cannot. Non posso. Devo andare al lavoro proprio adesso. Devo andare. I have to go at work just now, exactly now. Mi accompagni domani. Do you bring me there? Do you make me company tomorrow? Non puoi andare da solo. Can't you go? Non puoi, negative. Can't you go alone? Non voglio andare da solo. I do not want to go alone. Mi devi aiutare a compilare i moduli. You must help me to file the modules, to sign all the modules, to fill all the modules. Va bene, vengo domani. Ok, I come tomorrow. Ma devi imparare, but you must learn, but you have to learn. Let's read the next one. Dialogo numero 10. Buonasera, sono qui per un lavoro. Good evening, I'm here for a job. Ha una qualifica? Are you qualified? Do you have a qualification? Sì, sono un saldatore specializzato. Yes, I'm a specialized worker. Saldatore is a very specific mechanical job. Bene, posso assumerla con i nuovi contratti sindacali. Good, I can hire you with the new contract. Now, pay attention that this person, the triangle facing down, is talking in the formal way. It's not saying tu hai una qualifica, it's saying lei ha una qualifica. Lei ha is not talking to a girl. It's talking to a man in front of him, but using the formal way, which in Italian is the lei. So even if you're talking to someone and it's not a girl, if you want to be polite, you will say lei. So lei ha. In English would be she has, literally. Does she have a qualification? But in Italian, the lei form is the polite form. Lei ha una qualifica, and also here, posso assumerla. This la is pronoun, usually for feminine words, but in this case, referring to the guy at the polite way. I can hire you politely. Quando devo venire? When should I come? Lunedì prossimo alle 8. Mi raccomando la puntualità. Next Monday at 8. Mi raccomando is I emphasize the importance to be punctual, to be on time. Now, this was a lot of content for a first class. I hope you did not get scared. The Italian language is extremely beautiful and I want you to love it because I love it. And hopefully I can give you and transmit you all my positive energy when learning Italian. We're gonna cover many more topics in the next class, but for the moment I want you to enjoy Italian and see you each other in the next class. Ciao ragazzi!